10 o'clock news now on BBC One with Hugh Edwards and Riz Latif.
The Muslim teaching assistant suspended for wearing a veil in class has lost her claim for discrimination.
Muslim women who wear the veil are not aliens, and politicians need to recognise that what they say can have a very dangerous impact.
But Aisha Asmi won her case for victimisation. We'll have all the reaction. Also tonight.
On personal choice, if some women choose to wear it and they're not causing harm to anybody else, then why has it suddenly become
Should they
so
be allowed to
contentious?
teach children in school, going to today's case by Mrs. Asmi, which she lost for being sacked or suspended from her school because she wanted to teach fully veiled and was told she couldn't?
If it's about how it interferes or impedes your ability to do the job, then yes, there's a case.
Isn't that what a full contribution means?
No, because there's different ways to contribute. We don't always have to do the same jobs. I remember how there was this controversy when the Sikh turban in relation to police. They were saying, oh, you're not wearing the official helmet, therefore, you know, you've made your choice, your religion or the police force. But actually, accommodation was made and this matter was resolved. And so it's not a case of it's got to be either one way or the other. In the case of the children, the education of the children comes first in that scenario. So if it's a case she refused in front of the children, then yes, she's made a choice. If that's her commitment, sometimes you have to make sacrifices for your beliefs, and that would have been her sacrifice.
Do you agree with the Prime Minister that it's a mark of separation?
That I don't agree with, and I think that's where I think this debate takes a sinister turn. Remember how this all started off? Jack Straw gets visited in his surgery by a woman with a face veil. That's not separating yourself off, going to your local MP, engaging the local democratic process. So if he chose to read it as rejection or separation, that was his problem. That was a barrier in his mind. He actually described her as a pleasant woman with a broad Lancashire accent. So I think, you know, I'm a counsellor. I might get somebody coming to me with face studs. Now, I might not particularly like that choice, but for goodness sake, I would never say, you know, that because I'm uncomfortable, I think somehow that person should change their choices. It's about freedom of choice, and it's something about which direction this country is going into. I mean, the case of the crucifix, absolutely absurd, ridiculous. But once you start being intolerant towards one group, inevitably intolerance will grow towards other groups of people.
Okay. Hilary Armstrong. If I could just remind you what the Prime Minister said. He was asked whether a woman wearing a veil could make a full contribution to society. And he said, it's a very difficult question. It is a mark of separation, and that's why it makes other people from outside feel uncomfortable.
It has been a rise in hate crime, a rise in faith crime, a rise in race crime, and unfortunately, a situation which has given nothing but fodder to right-wing extremists.
OK. And the lady in yellow, if I can second. Yes. Yes, you.
I personally admire Jack Straw for airing the debate. I think it's much healthier to get it out into the open than rather have it an underlying issue, and I can't see the connection with Jack Straw airing the debate and the increase in health crime. Race crime.
In race crime?
Yeah.
And why are you with Jack Straw on this?
I just think if a politician cannot air his opinions, then what is he meant to do?
OK. Yes.
A very crucial point. A gentleman halfway up said cultures that come from other places. Well, the cultures are born here. They're brought up here. We're not, you know, this is why this debate is happening now, because we're British. Some of us are very proud to be Scottish. And we're all part of this country, and we're part of the future of this country. And another small thing is this. I don't actually think this debate is about the veil. OK? The reason this has become hijacked is because, whether we like it or whether we don't, non-Muslim British people feel unable to say anything about Islam they see around them, OK? For whatever reason that is, and I think the media need to play some part in that. This is a debate about us getting to know our neighbours.
Okay.
I'd really like to respond. I think that is really untrue. You cannot open a newspaper, you cannot switch on your TV without hearing comments about Islam. I mean, as a Muslim, I'm sick of seeing Muslims on TV, and I don't know how non-Muslims will feel about it. I mean, I fully expect tomorrow to open a tabloid and say, Muslim ate my hamster. You know, it's just been so ridiculous.
It was in yesterday's paper.
So, the idea... So your point that actually people are afraid to talk about Islam, or this is a bit of taboo, and so that's why it's really brave or somehow to start commenting on it, I really don't accept that.
All right, I'll take a couple more points. The man there with the blue tie on in the third row. Yes, Hughes.
What about the security issue?
What about the security issue?
Well, there's CCTV cameras everywhere you go, you know, for your safety. and you can't make out who's behind the veil.
Yes, or people wearing dark glasses, presumably.
No.
I'm not trying to spike your point. I mean, there are various ways of disguising yourself.
Yeah, no, but that's just totally covering your face.
OK, and you, sir, in the grey shirt here and the grey tie. No.
I think you've got to separate this issue from religion a bit. In the case of Mrs Asney, it's an absolute fact that in regards to face-to-face communication, 80% of it is via non-verbal means. With a lady that wears the veil, you take that away. Now, this lady may be a fantastic person, but I would feel a little bit more uncomfortable in this society.
Well, the lady here on the left who was talking a minute ago,
speaking to somebody in a veil than without the veil, and I think that situation is exacerbated in terms of school children. They might find it an intimidating experience, and that's not against religion.
We're going to move on now. We've been over half an hour on that, and I think we ought to move on to another question. This one is from Alison Moore, please. Alison Moore.